Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and for this week's Pokemon TCG live online match, we're looking at our third break evolution here on the channel, Florges BREAK. It's got an ability. It actually powers up the basic Florges with an ability as opposed to an attack, and you'll see the ability is a nice healing ability for your active Pokemon. So without any further ado, let's get into the deck builder for the week and take a look at what I've assembled for this week's live online deck, which I'm calling Windbreaker. Let's begin. Let's take a look at the deck that I've assembled here, called Windbreaker. And it's called that because we're going to try to get Florges BREAK into play. As you can see here, if I can bring it up. Computer's a little bit slow, but here we go. Florges BREAK. So the ability Floral Breeze, which is where the wind comes in, says once during your turn before your attack, you may heal 30 damage and remove a special condition from your active Pokemon. So this is the BREAK evolution we want to highlight, and it's going to be not really attacking so much. It's going to be sitting on the bench, helping out the active Pokemon. But we do have two of the Florges BREAK. I'm including two Florges. I've got one from the Breakthrough expansion, has the ability Calming Aroma. Each of your Pokemon's attacks cost one Fairy energy less. So it's going to help out the Fairy types, even though we're not really going to be battling with them. We've got other things in mind for the battling. So that's one Florges, and the other Florges I'm using is from Flashfire. It's got an attack called Brilliant Search for a colorless energy. Search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. Choose any 3 ones you want. You're going to take them at the end of that turn as your attack. Next turn you're going to be able to make use of them. The attack isn't really that powerful. Petal Blizzard, 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So it's good for getting some spread damage off on the entire opposing side of the battlefield, but it only does 20 damage. Still, it could come in handy, I suppose. But more often than not, this Florges is going to be used for the Brilliant Search. I'm including 2 Floette, also from Flashfire, with the Flower Veil ability. Each of your grass Pokemon in play gets plus 20 HP. So I've got 2 of those. If both are in play, that plus 20 is going to stack into a plus 40 for your grass types. And I've got 4 Flabebe. I was going to say Florfabebe. We've got a couple from Breakthrough, or at least one from Breakthrough. It's got the Wish attack. Flip a coin. If heads, search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So that's not too bad. And I kind of just grabbed random Flabebe because these Pokemon are going to be here mostly just to evolve into their higher forms. So looking at their attacks, not that important. Now for the rest of the Pokemon, I've got 15 Pokemon cards in this deck, which is 25% of the whole deck. I've got 2 Pinsir. Now the reason I'm using Pinsir is when I looked at the attack Heavy Suplex, I realized in the right condition, if I'm facing a Primal Groudon or Primal Kyogre, basic Pinsir can one-shot knock out either of those primal evolutions. The Heavy Suplex does 40 plus, 20 more damage for each retreat cost in your, or each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Each of the primals has a 4 retreat cost, so 4 times 20 is 80, plus the base 40 gives it to 120. Both of the primals are weak to grass, so it's going to double to 240, which is their max HP. All that math being said, Pinsir can one-shot the primals, so that's pretty cool. And I like the attack Overhead Throw. 30 damage, but it does 20 damage to one of your own benched Pokemon. So I somehow picture Pinsir just like hurling the opponent backwards and hitting your own bench, which is kind of funny. Now I'm also going to include, from Breakthrough, the Gogoat. It's got Overrun, which does 10 damage, 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's going to hit the bench a little bit harder. But the idea with this, I want to try to keep my grass Pokemon on the battlefield attacking and keeping them healed up. So Horn Leech does a powerful 90 damage, and you heal 30 from Gogoat when you use it. So that combined with the Floral Breeze is going to heal 60 each turn from Gogoat, not to mention whatever healing items or healing cards that we happen to use. So that's going to be the 15 cards, and I've got 2 Skiddo, which is not too bad. If I can get a coin flip on lead, it says search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So that could come in handy as well. So those are the 15 Pokemon. I've only got 12 energy cards, and they're going to be 5 basic Fairy, 5 basic Grass, and a couple of double colorless in case I need to power up that Heavy Suplex from Pinsir. Now the trainer cards. I've got a couple of energy retrievals because one of my favorite combos is the Professor's Letter, Ultra Ball, Energy Retrieval. It's going to let you basically search for any one Pokemon when you use the Ultra Ball. Whatever energy you discard, like first of all, use the Professor's Letter to get 2 basic energy. Use the Ultra Ball, discard those 2 basic energy, search for a Pokemon. Energy Retrieval then brings those energy back, so you're going to be able to cycle your cards through pretty well. I've got 2 of those, 2 Evo Sodas to help with evolving. I've got 1 Level Ball, because a lot of the Pokemon this week have over 90 HP, so the Level Ball won't play that much use. but I can use it on a whim to get one Pokemon that I might happen to need in a moment. So, and for the first time on this channel, you're going to see me use Rare Candy. Now, I've mentioned before, Rare Candy is a personal choice that I just kind of don't like to use. It's kind of based on the video game where I prefer to train to gain my levels, and Rare Candy makes it a little bit too quicker. It also cuts down the number of Pokemon you have to encounter, which reduces your chances of finding a shiny. So for that reason, I don't use Rare Candy in the game, and I never really tried using it in the card game, but it is a very useful card, and I figure, what kind of a Pokemon professor would I be if I'm not going to highlight the effects of each very useful card that people might want to be using? So, for that reason, I'm using Rare Candy this week. It lets you choose one of your basic Pokemon in play. If you have the Stage 2 card that eventually evolves up from that basic Pokemon, use the Rare Candy and you can evolve into Stage 2, skipping the middle stage. Now, it's of course you can't use it on your first turn or on a basic Pokemon that was just played that turn, but the main reason I do want to use Rare Candy this week is because of my Florges line. As I mentioned, the Floette has the ability Flower Veil, giving your grass Pokemon more HP. Now, what were to happen if I evolve this Floette into, say, this Florges? You do have this ability, but the previous ability is now deactivated. So your Flower Veil is turned off, your grass Pokemon don't gain the plus 20 HP. The idea is, I want to have 2 Flabébé in play that I can evolve into Floette and leave them there. I also have 2 more Flabébé that I want to be able to use Rare Candy to skip right over to Florges, and then Florges Break that I can evolve into. So we're going to see how well that works out. I've got the 2 Rare Candy to try to get 2 chances of having a Rare Candied Florges in play. Now I've also got 2 Trainer's Mails because they're very useful for finding your trainer cards from the top of the deck. There's those 2 Ultra Balls I mentioned. And a couple of Versus Seekers are going to round out the items. My preference is to run 1, maybe 2 of whatever supporter I might want to use, and include a couple of Versus Seekers, because that gives you the option, the versatility to draw back whichever one of those you might need when you have that Versus Seeker. Now, I'm including Brigitte from Breakthrough. Search your deck for, ignore that, 3 basic Pokemon, and put them onto your bench. It also works with the basic EX, but I don't have any EXs. And I've got Lysandre. Again, I always say, have at least 1 Lysandre. Being able to manipulate your opponent's side of the field is so useful. A Pokemon Center Lady to heal up the Pokemon that are up in the active spot doing the battle. We've got a Pokemon Fan Club to get a couple more basics. Professor Birch's Observations for some draw support, along with Sycamore for draw support. And I'm also including the reprinted Skyla from Breakthrough. Search your deck for a trainer card of any type, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle. So if you use her to find an item or a stadium, you can play it right on that very turn. Of course, if you get a supporter, you'll have to wait till next turn to play that other supporter. But definitely a useful card for helping you find what you need. And since I do imagine we might get some knockouts from the opponent's side, we're going to include the teammates. If I do lose a Pokemon during my opponent's last turn, I can play teammates to search my deck for any 2 cards that I want. Very useful. I've got Tierno also for draw support. I've got good old Wally to help with evolving. Xerosic to discard a special energy or tool card attached. And I got 2 Fairy Gardens because free retreat is always nice, and since I do have Fairy Energy in the deck, any Pokemon that has Fairy Energy attached, both yours and your opponent, has no retreat cost. So that can help me cycle my Pokemon around a little bit more. And on the off chance I need to give Gogoat a little bit more HP, I do have the Training Center. Each Stage 1 and Stage 2 Pokemon in play gets plus 30 HP. So that can help Gogoat stay in battle a little bit longer. For the tools, I've got a Hard Charm, a Lucky Helmet, and a Muscle Band. And I've also included another one of the Team Flare Hyper Gear, the Jamming Net. It's going to reduce damage from the opposing Pokemon EX that I attach this to. And there's the energy, as I said. So we got 15 Pokemon, 33 trainers, 12 energy cards. Let's get into a battle and see how well the Florges BREAK, featuring Gogoat and Pinsir, does in this week's online battle. Alright, our battle is underway versus Izupko. And I'm probably pronouncing that horribly wrong. Okay, so we're going to call for a heads and see what we get. We get the tail, so they're going to get choice of who goes first. And I've got that weird question mark low Wi-Fi signal, which I don't understand why, because I just played a few matches and it never had that, so. Might take a while to see what they choose for the first player. They choose themselves. Alright, so let's see what we get started with. We shouldn't have any mulligans because we have a lot of basic Pokemon this time around. We've got both Pinsir. My opponent looks to be running a Gengar, possibly. Gotta watch out for that creep show, it's called. I was gonna call it Creepy Shuriken, which is my strategy. There's the Gengar. Oh, it's gonna be Mega Gengar. Well, regular Gengar and Mega Gengar, the EX version. Okay. Lots of spooky ghosts to watch out for this holiday season. And once again, one more mulligan for my opponent. That is 3 so far, I believe. Alright, so we're going to start with one Pinsir. I'm going to hang on to the other one for now, I think. Yeah. Now, I'm going to take probably 1 or 2 cards for the mulligan. I might as well just take all 3. Alright, and no other basics. But we're going to finish off here. And they're starting with a Shuppet. With Bleh. Discard a special energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And there's Mewtwo EX. And Delta Evolution allows a Banette to evolve right away. So Evolution Jammer, if they get that attack, is going to prevent me from playing evolution cards from my hand. Curse Deeply puts 5 damage counters on my active Pokemon. So Gengar and Ghastly. I'm hoping we can get ourselves set up decently so at least this isn't a steamroller. So they're powering up the Banette. They're going to try to prevent my evolution, it looks like. So we do have a Skiddo. Put that to the bench. Now I don't really need to worry about evolving, or being unable to evolve Pinsir, because of course it has no evolution. But I'm going to attach an energy to it. Let's get a couple of energy out of the deck. Let's go for some more grass. Just to thin the deck out a little bit more. I'm going to put a Muscle Band to the Pinsir for added damage. And let's now play the Trainer's Mail and see what we get off the top 4 cards. A Fairy Garden and a Skyla. We'll definitely go for the Skyla. And we're going to play that, see what else we can get. We have a lot of options. I think I want to get some more Pokemon in play, so next turn I'm going to play Bridget. Now, Overhead Throw. We are going to hurt our own little Skiddo, unfortunately. But fortunately, the Muscle Band will not power up the recoil damage. So let's do Overhead Throw for 50. And 22, little Skiddo. One more of those Overhead Throws, and Banette is done. Of course, we can also power up the Heavy Suplex using the double colorless next turn. So they're going to evolve their Ghastly into Haunter. Fortunately, by doing it that way, they can't use the, what is it, Gothic Fear, I think it's called? Yeah, they can't use that ability because they evolve from the deck, not from hand. So they can go for the 5 damage counters, which I can heal with the Center Lady. But I don't think I need to worry about that just yet. I'm going to use Bridget this turn as my supporter. They actually didn't do the Evolution Jammer, which is good to note. So definitely going to get Bridget. And let's go for 3 Flabebe. Alright, now I can knock it out with the Overhead Throw. But I would do damage to my own side. I'd rather not do that. I'm going to power up the Heavy Suplex. And that's all I'm going to play. I'm going to go right for the attack. Go for a nice 80 damage, finishing off the Ancient Trait, Banette. Another Fairy Garden in hand, so as soon as I start attaching Fairy Energy, I can start maneuvering my Pokemon for free. Now what's next for my opponent? If they do have the right cards in hand, I was going to say they could bring up the Haunter, evolve to Gengar, possibly use the Creep Show and knock me out, but fortunately that's not the case. What can this do to me? With a Muscle Band and a double colorless, it could knock me out, but they're going to go with a Mystery Energy. Are they going to evolve their Mewtwo? They could. Nope, they're going to go with the Gengar. Which means I have to heal next turn most definitely, so I don't get Creepshow. And that's just what we're going to do. So we have a Florges BREAK in hand. No Florges yet to make use of that. And I'm going to start powering up the Skiddo. On the off chance we get Gogoat into play. So that's all I'm going to play from hand. I'm going to go with the Heavy Suplex. How much will this do? 60. Okay. Oh yeah, the retreat cost is reduced because of the mystery energy. It's alright, 2 more of those heavy suplexes and Mewtwo EX is down anyway. As long as I can keep Pinsir healed, we don't got to worry about the creep show from Gengar. Now, the unfortunate thing, Photon Wave is going to reduce the damage that Pinsir causes. So we take 30, and that is enough for Creep Show to knock us out, if the Gengar powers up. Let's throw a Jamming Net right onto that Mewtwo. Going to weaken its Photon Wave by 10, or 20, sorry. So, if Pinsir is to attack, it's going to be reduced. Let's just go ahead and do that anyway, get off as much damage as we can for this turn. 40 more damage. 30 more, I'm sorry, I thought Photon Wave reduced by 20. So at least we're reducing each other's attacks. Of course, one double colorless will be enough to power up the Cyburn, but they don't seem to have that, so Gengar's powering up. So we're just like stalling things out, we're reducing each other's damage. Wally is going to be very useful. Let's go ahead and get... I want to go with Gogoat, actually. Alright. Now then, I'm going to attach Fairy Energy to Pinsir to provide me with free retreat with the Fairy Garden. So Pinsir, you're going to come on back for the time being, and Gogoat is going to take the field. Now we don't have enough to do Horn Leech, but we can do the Overrun. 10 damage to Mewtwo EX, and let's damage this Gengar on the bench for 30. So it's got 70 HP left for Mewtwo EX. What I need is some cards to really start getting my evolved Flabébé into play. So the Gengar has powered up. It's going to be able to use either of its attacks now. The good thing is, of course, we're not going to worry about Creepshow knocking Gogoat out right yet. Sinister Fog will be a problem. So poisoned, and then everyone on my bench takes 10. Now, if we can get a Grass Energy, we're actually in a still pretty good spot here. There's Lysandre. Let's bring up... How much is the retreat cost on this? 2? Yeah, we gotta slow things down. We're gonna bring up the Gengar. Or Gengar EX. And I'm going to... I could give myself more HP with the training center, but I'm just going to go with an overrun. Do 10. And should I hit Mewtwo or the Gengar? I'm going to go with the Gengar. So 10 to the Gengar EX and 30 to the bench Gengar. Alright, come on. Can we start getting some Floette or Florges into play, please? There's Bleh. They can get rid of my double colorless on Pinsir if Shuppet comes up to the active spot. But the opponent's going to end it there, which is unfortunate because we didn't really get to show off our Florges BREAK yet. Well, we still get a victory, however. And we saw the power of the heavy suplex. Good job, Pinsir. And we got some points. Choking Vines. Alright, Wolf times Crow is the opponent. And we're going for the coin flip, and let's go for the fancy fairy side of heads. We actually got heads. We never do that. Okay. So we won the coin flip, and I'll choose to take the first turn. See what we happen to get started off with our top 7 cards. We do have a Flabébé, so definitely let's go into the active spot, and the opponent has a really fancy Mega Rayquaza coin. So I have 1 active and 1 benched. And it's a very fancy looking, there we go, Pikachu, 2 Pikachu, okay. So I think I want to go with the Skyla first off to get, yeah, let's do Skyla. I'm going to go for Bridget if she's in here. And there she is. I'm going to get some more basics next turn. And we're going to thin the deck a little more. Let's grab some energy with the Professor's Letter. Go with, I got 2 grass in hand. I think I'll go with 2 fairy this time. And although Flabébé is not really going to be an attacker, I'm going to attach Fairy Energy so that we can retreat next turn for free when we play the Fairy Garden. So So the turn passes to my opponent. They can power up to go with the Tail Whip. Of course, there's no telling what else they might have in store for us in this deck. One of the nice things about your opponent getting a mulligan is you get to look at their hand and possibly get an idea of what their strategy might be before the game even starts. So they have powered up with Tail Whip, and I believe on a coin flip of heads, yes, the defending Pokemon can attack next turn, which is fine because Flabébé really isn't going to attack anyhow. So we see Zapdos, the legendary Thunderbird, has been added to the bench on my opponent's side. Definitely a problem. I noticed that with the Roaring Skies theme deck. Now, Tail Whip did fail, got a coin flip of tails. So I'm going to use Bridget to get some more basic Pokemon in play. I want to go with maybe 2 more Flabébé. I don't know if I want 2. I want to definitely go for one of the grass types, so either Pinsir or Skiddo. I think Skiddo is probably the better bet. And let's go with 2 Flabébé. Alright, so we're going to start powering up the Skiddo. We can use the Evo Soda next turn to evolve it into Gogoat. And I'm going to go ahead and try the Wish. Flip a coin. If heads, search for a card. We get heads. Okay. So I'm going to take a chance on a rare candy. There's one there. Now I'm going to hope I can get Florges off the top using a Tierno next turn. So we're in a decent-ish kind of a spot, I think. My plan is I'm going to try to get a Florges in play so I can go for Florges Break, and if I can power Skiddo with 3 grass energy to evolve into Gogoat, then the Horn Leech and, what is it called? Floral Breeze, the ability, they're going to work in conjunction. Well, we're about to lose our first Flabébé with this Electro Ball Muscle Band powered up. So the opponent shuffles their hand away. On a coin flip of tails, they get 4 cards back. We're putting a lot of faith in your Tierno. We need to get a Florges, or a way to get Florges at least. And a way to get another grass energy. So first of all, Skiddo is the only one powered up to attack, and it can survive an Electro Ball from Pikachu. So no EXs on my opponent's side. The Jamming Net is useless at this point, but we're going to go... I'm not going to play you yet, Tierno. I want to thin the deck a little more. I'm going to evolve right away into Gogoat. If nothing else, we're going to start doing some overrun damage to the bench. Alright, so I'm going to give a grass energy. We've thinned the deck all we can for the time being, so now we're going to play the Tierno. And no Florges, but we can use the Ultra Ball to go for a Florges. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go Ultra Ball, get rid of the Jamming Net, and then Fairy Energy. And I think I'm going to go with this one. We don't got to worry about reducing Fairy Energy cost on our side during this particular battle. So we're going to Rare Candy, choose a Flabébé, and evolve into Florges. So let's put a Pinsir to the bench. And what do we have in here for energy? We can bring back 2 Fairy. I'm going to hang on to the energy retrieval for now. We've already played the energy this turn anyway. So let's go with Overrun, 10 to Pikachu. I think this Zapdos is a bigger threat, so we're going to start racking up damage on that. Alright, can we get a Grass Energy and start using the Horn Leech? Because that would be pretty amazing. The Electro Ball, of course, will be doing 50. Of course, they could evolve into Raichu at any moment. I'm not sure which Raichu it's going to be. Another Zapdos has been added, and that one's being powered up. So, that's who we want to start doing the damage to. Alright, 50. We can heal 30 once we get Florges Break. And no Grass Energy. However, we will Break Evolve. I'm still going to hang on to the energy retrieval. I could get the Fairy Energy back, play the Fairy Garden, and free retreat, but it's really not going to help at this point. So we're just going to go with the Floral Breeze, recover 30 damage from Gogoat, and go with the Overrun, 10 to Pikachu. I could keep whittling damage away on this. I'll do that, actually. because we're not going to be able to knock out the Zapdos that's powering up before it gets fully energized. So if we can just grab a single Grass Energy, Gogoat can start doing some real damage to the opponent's side, while healing itself up too. Two more of those overruns can take out the Zapdos and will at least gain a prize, and Evo Soda is probably going to bring a Raichu into play. I don't imagine they're going to evolve their Voltorb. But with any luck, their Raichu cards are all going to be prized. How do you like the luck? So fortunately, Thunderclap Shot will do nothing, but Electro Smash could do possibly 110. It's going to do at least 90 with the coin flip of Tails. Why would... Oh, because they don't have energy. Okay, they didn't have enough to power up for the Electro Smash. Alright, so versus Seeker, I can bring back Tierno, which will give me a shot at... No, I'm going to bring back Skyla. And check this out. Skyla's coming back into... That's Bridget. Skyla's coming back into hand. We're going to play Skyla to get a Professor's Letter. Show me that letter. There we go. Alright, so we're in a decent spot now. I'm going to play the Professor's Letter. Grab a couple of Grass Energy. Into hand they go. Power up the Gogoat. Go with the Floral Breeze to heal it up. Of course, we could have just gone ahead and used our attack of Horn Leech to heal it up, while getting a knockout on Raichu. First prize of our side has been claimed. A fan club. And the opponent is going to end it right there. Because as you see, Gogoat was set up to just tear through that team while being healed thanks to Florges BREAK. So this worked out pretty well. I think we get some more points for one of our challenges. Oh, we're almost finished the Choking Vines. Alright, well, either way, that was a good match, thanks to my opponent. Well, it's kind of unfortunate that neither of those matches actually made it all the way to the end so you can see the full strategy play out, but you saw the basics of it at least, like getting your Florges BREAK to keep healing your active Pokemon, especially in conjunction with Gogoat's Horn Leech. You're going to be healing 60 each turn, plus I have that Pokemon Center Lady if I need to heal up, so you got a lot of options to keep your Pokemon nice and healthy in the battle. So we didn't actually get to make use of the Flower Veil, but the idea is there as long as you can have two Flabébé that can evolve into Floette, and then the other two can be rare candied into Florges, and then from there Florges BREAK. You can have all of your abilities set up and continuing to affect your side of the field, helping you get through to the battles. Alright, so that's going to be the end of this week's Pokemon TCG online match. If there are any other cards from the Breakthrough expansion you'd like to see, let me know. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see if I can assemble a deck using those cards in the online game for next week. And other than that, I'm going to see if I can continue the idea of showing off some of the BREAK evolutions. There's only 3 left that I haven't used yet. There is Noivern BREAK, and Marowak BREAK, and the Chestnut BREAK. I've been saving those for last because there's not as much strategy that goes into them, I don't think. They're more just like basic attackers, doing additional damage based on different settings, you know, different aspects of the game. So, if you do want to see any of those BREAK evolutions for next week, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Alright, for that's the end of this video. Thank you for checking out this week's Pokemon TCG Live online match, and I'll catch you next time.